about your experience. Having this information will help us serve you better and will help you as soon as we possibly can. If you would like to participate, we will assist you shortly.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us tonight on Sharky Waters Wednesday night. I am your host, Dom, and this is my place, live filming live from Tacoma, Washington, where we are in the middle of the epicenter of the coronavirus. But luckily we're safe. We're keeping it under the governor's restrictions of minimal of under 200 people in our social gathering, so I'm going to lose this face mask here, which are available on Morphous Art. These things are custom designed for anybody who wants to ramp up their fears about the flu and diseases that are out there. Chris Morphous is the artist who did the shark mural behind our wall, if you want to check that out. And tonight on the show, we've got a shark photographer and actual shark diver. Before we get to that, I want to unpack all of the sponsorships that help us out with the show. That's Tipsy Tomato. Am I on? Yep. That's Tipsy Tomato, our local dive bar where we go out for pizzas after the show, where there's 4 pool tables there to be played and maybe a 6-foot by 12-foot snooker table coming up soon. Harass your local bar owners to find out more about that. Harold Prine from Prine Custom Cues, thanks for the carbon fiber custom shaft here that I'm shooting with. And then Clean Slate Pool Tables, that's me, and helping out all the pool community with your pool table needs, refills, recovers, relocations. Give me a buzz if you guys need any help with that stuff. Tor behind the wires and the screens, bringing this stuff to you into your devices and your screens. We got Eric the Clock Doctor here keeping us in line and on time. Cassandra Bryant, our pro Shark Attack commentator, is here. And then in the house again tonight is Warren Bingham helping us with Open Swim. Open Swim is going to be some bang shots. We're going to do some of those. We're going to unpack some questions about what it's like to swim with the sharks in real life. And then we're going to do the crew match. Who's playing? Did we find out? Cassandra and Tor are going to be up against each other in the crew match. We'll see who wins there. And then Michelle and I are going to do the race to 7 and 9 ball, and then she's going to give a stab at a clean slate break pot. It's up to $300, so stay tuned all the way through to make sure you see if she wins that. Eric, you want to flip the timer, and we'll get going? Michelle, tell me about your love for bank shots.
I have no love for bank shots whatsoever.
I think you're probably in good company with that. Let's do two different ways. Let's go 4 routes. Short ways off the rail, short ways on the rail. And then we'll go long ways off the rail and long ways on the rail. Let's practice those.
All right.
And so, boom, boom, boom. You go first. You take the cue ball there.
Abuse.
Let's go ball in hand and bank any rail you want. Bank off that rail, and you can go this way if you have to, although I think it's probably going to be hard to do it with the 7 ball. And then I'll set these up over here for you, too.
I don't know.
What do you do when you go to do a bank shot? You got any systems behind it at all?
I like the mirror method where you're kind of visualizing that table at the other side.
Right.
That's my favorite, but
Right.
sometimes I'm just winging it, to be honest.
Tor, can you put us on the side camera where you can see my width here? Where I want to try and walk people through what we're talking about on the mirror thing. Where if you can imagine, here, Michelle, you take the cue ball there. We'll just kind of work this lesson together. If you imagine at the bumper, there's a mirror that sits right here. And if you look, from her perspective, if you look at this pocket in that mirror, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure with my pool cue from here to here, that mirror that pocket will actually be right over here.
Yep.
So I'm going to hold my pool cue right here. And then what she's going to do is aim that 4 ball straight at my mirror simulation.
Except that I still am a little short.
Yeah, try it one more time.
It's the bane of my existence, being short.
Yeah, well, that could appear to be true. You can compensate for that kind of stuff on a pool table, though. There you go.
You can.
There you go. Now, I don't know how sensitive the sound on the overhead mics are or what, but you can actually hear a real subtle imperfection where the rail is not attached to the sub rail in there because this table's pretty old and we haven't replaced the rails yet. And when we do, it'll minus that. But what that'll actually do is it'll shorten that angle the way you were coming short a couple times. Some of that, it's like the angle was proper,
I actually
but it dies
overcut
down.
it to make up for it.
And you could, and it right where you hit it, you kind of compensated there perfectly.
So, because that was going right where it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and speed has a lot to do with it as well.
It does.
Cutting down and opening up that angle.
Yep.
Definitely does.
There's actually, Michelle, I know you play strong enough, so I'm going to unpack a little bit of like
Enjoy.
kind of higher thinking of bank shots. Is that there's actually like 3 aiming points. They probably look like this, you know, where this one would be with no spin. Here at my middle finger would be no spin at all. And this one would be with outside English, correct? And then this one would be with inside English. And that's because the inside and outside English of this is putting an effect onto that ball, which is essentially going to change the angle of that. So it might be more than what we want to unpack in like a full, quick, open swim session, but that's actually the finite dissections of the bank shots there.
And see, that was way too wide.
Yep.
I think it might be your turn.
All right, let me try.
Have fun. I hate those banks.
Well, don't. Go ahead, Tor.
Just double check. Got my mic level up here, nice and good. I think the 3-point thing, the 3-point system is advanced, but it's not really that advanced. I mean, and it's not just bank shots that comes into effect. I think that's like a pretty solid fundamental because when you're talking about cheating the pocket, how much you can go to the left or the right side of the pocket. I've been taught the 3-point system there as well.
Yeah, I think just as long as we're trying here, and I'm maybe roughing it here, but if we can maybe look at those 3 different points there, I'll try and see if I can make that apparent that there's 3 different ways to shoot it. Because I'm going to shoot at this piece of chalk, but with right hand spin, which is going to impart left hand spin on that cue ball, which is going to make up for the fact that this right hand target point is further to the right on the rebound than our target space. So it'll, in other words, open up that angle. And put it to that point. Maybe even a little more spin. And that's where Eric was talking about. The speed is crucial because you have to give it enough speed to kind of press that rubber in and make the actualization of the spin happen. Where I think that I hit it in the right spot, obviously, because I hopped that piece of chalk up in the air, but I didn't hit it enough to make the spin happen on the ball. And if you can really see, maybe if I put the one ball this way, you might even be able to see the number one rotate over as it goes towards the cushion. This is an interesting breakdown of bank shots.
There it is.
Okay, and so with the same shot here and the same ball, I'm gonna shoot, and that was with right hand spin. I'm gonna aim right at the blue dot, the blue chalk, but with no spin at all. Well, I did put spin on that one. Let me try again.
And Dom, I want to bring up the transference of spin between the cue ball and the object ball. That was a tough concept for me when it was first taught to me, but when I finally clicked was the example that it's like two gears in like a clock or a machine or anything like that, that if one is turning clockwise, the other one that's connected to it will turn counterclockwise.
There we go. So like that one.
Yeah, it's such a small moment that those balls connect that I don't think people see it that way, but it is just like a microcosm of that gear motion.
And a good word that one time someone had used when explaining something to me was like that moment of finesse. You know, finesse is a good word to it because it's got to be just enough, because if you hit it too hard, then it doesn't give enough time for that traction to catch. But if you hit it too soft, then it obviously doesn't give it enough power to catch traction either. So on this last one, I'm going to try and hit this piece of chalk here, but if you look at the natural angle, that puts me aiming all the way over here with the one ball. And so if you put no spin on it, it's going to bounce too wide. If you put right hand spin on it, it's going to bounce even wider. But if you put left hand spin on it, it'll put right hand spin on this one ball and ideally catch the cushion enough with the spin to be able to hold it onto the target space. This is probably one of the harder ones, and inside English is typically hard for people to control. So banking balls with inside English is no different, really. You can see I still hit that target space, but almost similar to the first shot, I don't think that I got the traction that I was looking for off of that ball.
So what is it, like a slower speed allows for more time for the connection, or is it a faster speed that allows it more rebound off the cushion?
Could be both, depending on how if you're wanting to widen up the angle or soften up the angle. But essentially, I think it's the first one that you're saying, that it's enough time.
From what I understood, it was kind of like the harder the ball goes into the rail, the more the rail kind of grabs it and keeps it and like locks it into it.
It's like right on
that angle spot. Versus if you hit it nice and softly, then it's just all rebound and there's no like.
That one
was close. It doesn't steal anything from the speed.
But you can see that ball's spinning real hard to the left, like it's trying to create that traction there. I'm gonna try it one more time, and then we'll try and shoot the banks on the rail there. There we go. See, and that one I even made it spin too much, but you can tell the chalk hopped all the way off. So maybe there is an element to like how fast you're hitting it and how much velocity forward it has in imparting on that, because we actually, what looked like I couldn't get enough to it, wound up putting more than enough and even too much.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's like such a tiny moment that it hits the cushion, but it really goes in pretty far. Like you were like half a centimeter away from the edge of the cushion, like that piece of chalk that you were aiming at, but it totally bent the cushion in enough to hit it.
Yeah. Now it gets a little harder because when the balls are up against the wall, up against the bumper, because there's less deviation to mitigate when the ball is right up against the bumper there. It's like immediately causing a friction, where if you take two balls up against the wall, kind of like I was explaining to you, like the gears, it's real easy to show them like that because you have friction on one side and you have the friction on the ball side. So you have to be real careful about how much left and right spin you put on these shots, as well as making sure, obviously, that you don't double kiss. Because if you shoot directly too full-faced into it, then it's going to rebound into the cushion and directly back into the space where the cue ball sits. And then so if you have to go off to the side to avoid the double kiss, then you're really bound to making sure you put the right amount of spin on there to get the angle right. And so here, I think is a pretty, I probably might hit the 9-ball here, but I'm going to go for like a half ball hit, assuming that that's going to put me right about here, and I'm going to put a little right hand English on it to put left hand English on the cue ball to try and bring it over there.
Okay, so this is like a secondary question to the execution of this, and Michelle, I'm real curious where you sit on this, but Dom, talk to me about the like ladies and gentlemen pre-stroke tip that you were telling me, and follow up to that. Curious if Michelle like has a mantra or.
That came from a lesson that was presented to me from a friend, and it's Mark Wilson. He's like a famous pool player who played in the Moscone Cup way back in the day, professional instructor now. And he talks about your form and your backswing, and what he did was he went on like a real long stint of almost obsessive analyzing of professional pool players and how in the nanosecond slow motion of time of it took from them going through their practice routine, and on the moment that they pulled the trigger on their shot, that from starting point A back to where they go backwards to follow through being like A, B, C, that time frame calculated out to be 1.4 to 1.9 seconds for pros, and that it's almost unanimous across the board that if you're going under 1.4, then you're like at an amateur level. And so what he encouraged people to do was to find a mantra that you can say to yourself, and that his was ladies and gentlemen. I've actually been changing mine, and side note to anybody who watched last week and doesn't know that Frankie is like a significantly stronger player than me, and I felt really grateful to beat him, that my mantra had like somehow like thoughts, I don't know how thoughts arise, but they just arise where they do, but it had become, this is my moment. And so
Nice.
I was saying that as I was playing with Frankie, and executed some like really hard shots that I was like really happy wound up going through as smoothly as they did. But yeah, so I'm gonna let you talk about anything in your mental game while I'm gonna try this a couple more times.
So normally for me, it's more just taking time to make sure that I'm still set how I need to be, because since I quit pool for a long time and I came back to it, I've been trying to go back to what I had learned in the past and not back into my bad habits that I had when I was just playing for fun. So for me, taking that extra time to look at my shots and actually line everything up and work on my stroke and stuff, it's trying to get myself back into my old mindset so I can actually become a habit again, because it isn't quite one yet.
Pretty good book called The Power of Habit. If anybody's interested in that, it talks about
I own that.
cues and things that happen that make you create your habits. And so whether it's someone talking outside of your game, or the song that you don't like on the jukebox, could be something that cues your poor habit. And as long as you can start finding like quote unquote those triggers, then you can start really navigating those habits a little bit better and reprogram your mind for that stuff. It's a big part of what pool is trying to adapt your mind for better habits.
I think of it in the term of psychology. If you get into a certain habit, when you get stressed, you go back to your main thing. So it's regression to the mean is what they call in psychology.
Regression
Regression to the mean.
to the mean.
So
your mean, median, and mode, right? Your most common mean. Is that what the mean was, right?
So
get a little 8th grade math back up on that, right? Is that right?
So, but they call it regression to the mean in psychology. So for me, I want to make that habit. That if I get stressed out, that's where I'm going to go to, not to the bad habits I have picked up.
That's a great call. That's a great call. I'm going to move on to this one, and then I'm going to make you shoot this backwards cut because it's actually going the other direction. And you can even, we're going like parallel with them, but imagine it's even off this way. A lot of people will think that through physics and lasers bouncing off of mirrors, that's clearly going this way. But if I put the cue ball right here in this space, shooting directly into it with the proper left-hand spin, then it will create some right-hand spin on that 9-ball and allow me to get to that angle. And so while we may not be able to execute the shots, the idea is to show the people the principle so that they can work on them at their house. You know, you getting any practice time at home?
Nope, I still haven't set up my table.
Yeah. Well, you're in good company with that too. There's a lot of people who get guilty of that, and then there's people like myself who have the table put together and then still struggle to find table time somehow. But let me try this one more time. I think I almost double kissed a little bit on that last one, so.
I'm also
Give it,
guilty
my
of
ladies and gentlemen. Almost.
so close. I'm also guilty of the fact that I'm almost always gone, so it makes it kind of hard.
Let's talk about that. Where were you last?
I was in Florida, and right
part?
before that, I was in Canada.
Let me tell you my Florida snorkeling story. There are conches everywhere, right? And I was like snorkeling around, and they told us to take off our watches and all of that stuff. I guess it's like pretty attractive of barracudas and everything.
Shiny
but I was
things.
like pretty enamored with this conch and lobster battle royale, I should say, you know. And we're probably snorkeling about 4 feet deep.
Oh, I
That's
overdid it.
You know, like not very. And then I was so enamored by what was going on with these like crustaceans battling, and I turned around. There was this huge, like 4.5-foot barracuda. It was just staring at me right in the face. I had like no, I mean, you know, the slow, trying to get away from something without disturbing the
still
water
doing the
around
same
it
thing.
move. Which I'm gonna go ahead and come out right now and tell everyone openly who doesn't know. I have like a horrible phobia of cephalopods.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I've done some like shark snorkeling in Hawaii.
You may not want to dive with the octopus here.
Yeah, I absolutely don't. I don't even like going to the zoo to look at the octopus here.
Oh, but they're so adorable.
I have to agree to disagree. I believe that an octopus fits by all terms and definitions the descriptions of a monster.
Well, if you've seen some of the ones I've seen underwater here, you might agree, yeah.
Yeah.
May I ask, have you
Oh.
looked inside? May I ask, have you looked inside to determine what is the source of that fear?
You know, I actually have. I do promote the like introspective analysis of all fears, really. And I don't know. And sometimes in this, you guys are all gonna laugh at this, but sometimes it goes to. I don't think I'm so afraid of them. I think that it scares me that you guys aren't. You know, like
You're right.
Like,
It's
am
gonna
I
make
really
us laugh.
alone in this? Because they truly do fit the description. I shouldn't have to sit here and say they have 8 arms and a beak and, you know, that they...
And 4 hearts?
Yeah, and 4 hearts and neurological cells on every part of their body, including their skin. That stuff is pretty fantastic, you know? And that's not even getting into dissecting different species of cephalopods and the different nuances of autoluminescence and whatnot. I mean, they kill sharks, you know. There's some documented photographers who do what you do and who have captured some footage of octopus fighting
keep
and
way
wrangling
overdoing it.
sharks to death. So, I mean, not to diminish the value of our loving mascot here on the Sharky Waters show.
Hey, there's over 500 different species of sharks. They come in all shapes and sizes, just like people.
Yeah, tell me more about that. Are they truly the most evolved species in the planet?
I probably
What about
wouldn't
the
say
ocean? I mean, they're definitely
Sharks
old,
have been
right?
around since before trees and since before
We're
dinosaurs. So
talking
they've actually been
200
around.
million years old, 200 million years of evolution.
They've been around since before trees, which most people don't realize. So they've been around a really long time.
Yeah, that makes you
But-
real strong in your environment.
I have
be
to
able
ask you a question. Is Megalodon still alive?
Not that I know of. That would be amazing.
That
I
was a
would
good
totally
ring
get in the
shot.
water with it.
I'm obsessed with Megalodon. I'm
Let's see
definitely
that
afraid
one.
of sharks, but I am obsessed with Megalodon.
Is there anything in the water that scares you?
People.
People do?
People.
Walk me through that. Like boats?
Well, no. People are unpredictable. You don't know what they're going to do. They're going to do stupid things or not.
Yeah, true.
Sharks are predictable.
Yeah, but what about octopus?
Also predictable.
No way. There have been octopus who have walked out of their aquariums and escaped the zoo. You can't say that's predictable. Nobody
They
saw
can
that.
fit through-
Nobody saw that coming.
Okay, as octopus can fit through anything their beak can fit through.
Yeah,
So you can see a giant octopus, and as long as there's a little hole that their beak can fit through,
Have
they're
you
going to
ever
fit through
seen
it.
Terminator 2? Are you familiar with liquid metal?
Not since I was younger.
Basically what we're talking about is their ability to squeeze through a keyhole It's horrifying to me.
They're extremely intelligent animals.
There's footage of them starting to walk on dry land.
They're very,
You know,
very
If
intelligent.
that's not scaring anybody, then I don't know what is.
Do I dare ask the following question?
Probably. Yeah, I'm still overdoing that.
So,
Your reference to people, and on the back of marine life, which
we're
do you
going
have a higher
pollution.
love for?
Marine life for people? The marine life.
I
Which is
suspected.
why I travel with them and dive with them. And
yeah. Tell people who don't know who you are about your job.
so I do a couple things. I am a scuba instructor. I do teach diving.
Let's try long table.
And then I also work at the zoo in the shark dive program. I bring people in to dive with sharks.
Cool. What do I got to do that?
Go to the website and sign up.
Perfect.
pdza.org/dive.
Say that one more time, slowly.
pdza.org/dive. So it's 8 years old and up. You don't have to be
That's awesome.
certified.
My son is going to love doing something like that.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
I imagine it is. How long have you been there working there?
I've been at the zoo for about 2 years now, actually.
How do you even get a job diving with sharks?
Dumb luck in my case. I was working at a dive center as an instructor and happened to see the email and I applied for the job and I got it. Just because I have a ton of experience in diving. I started diving in '97, so.
I used to captain sailboats in Hawaii, and my diving experience is limited to when customers would drop their keys in the marina. That we would have to like put on gear and then go like search and rescue, basically. 'Cause it's like real silty and muddy down there and like very low
Yeah,
visibility.
that wouldn't be fun. The visibility here is not fantastic either, but it's the best diving I've done in all my travels.
Yeah, after a while we got those like big commercial magnets to just suck up keys and stuff people drop.
Can I direct people to your photography?
I don't have anything specific besides my Instagram right now. So,
Well, please.
but
if
you're more than welcome to if you want
if you
to.
want to if you want to fan up on her, we did post some pictures from the Sharky Waters page of your
I do
photography.
plan on eventually selling my photos, and it'll probably get posted on my Instagram when I finally do. So,
Cool. They're super fantastic photos.
What's your Instagram tag?
it's KR1CKET. So cricket with a K and a 1.
Awesome.
I gotta admit, I already posted it, so I'm glad you gave it.
So you
So
were
he's asking forgiveness.
Exactly.
so you were in Florida. Where were you before that?
I was in British Columbia. I was in Hornby Island, Canada, diving with the stellar sea lions.
Okay, stellar sea lions in Canada, but what was in Florida? Because those aren't in Florida, right?
Caves. I was playing in the caves.
Like spelunking.
Cave diving.
Cool.
Going out and...
Have you ever done that in Belize?
I haven't. That is on my list of places to go.
Yeah, they say that they have some underwater cave navigations that like still aren't completely mapped out there.
They actually have them
there's,
in Vancouver Island. There's a cave called Wet Dreams. Yes, that's an interesting name.
That is
but
an
they have a
interesting
cave
name.
called Wet Dreams up there that
Careful,
I'd love
it's
to
a
see.
kid-friendly show here.
I would love to see it, but it's only open for a certain few months a year.
So what time of year is that?
I don't
and
know. It's in
what's
my
the-
research I've been looking into.
Why is it only limited by the year though, or by that time? Is it like a weather thing or?
I believe so. I think the cave gets silted out or something, but I'm not 100% sure. I'd actually have to go look at it.
Yeah, I've done a lot more free diving, and back when I was younger, we used to, exercise our lungs and holding our breaths and free diving everywhere. And
That's challenging.
probably one of the coolest places that I got to free dive was off of the southeast coast of the Big Island called A Bay. It's like pretty famous for diving, but it's got big, giant coral heads like the size of this pool table, and at some point swimming around, you just can't help but think of the scale of the ocean and how big it gets and how small you might be compared to some other.
Most of the
thing
things
out
I go
there.
travel to see are in pretty remote places, and people would never think to go find them. So, because I very rarely go to dive and stuff like caves. I normally go looking for animals
Right.
specifically.
Right.
So,
I'm curious, Michelle, has there been a specific incident where maybe something went wrong with the tank? Or I know that you're used to that. Like once you get certified, you're used to it and you know how to deal with it. But what's a particular moment where something went wrong and you actually got scared underwater?
Nothing has happened to me, but I've actually watched things happen to other people. So I've watched a kid spit out his regulator in 30 feet of water. And that was pretty panicky. I watched
that
a
would
person
scare
who
me.
was training to be a dive professional lose his weight belt, and somebody was trying to adjust his weight belt, and I saw him spit his regulator out underwater, and the person who was helping him didn't see it, and he was clinging to the line. And then he was so panicked that he couldn't even inflate his BCD, so I had to get behind him and get him up to the surface.
BCD, that's buoyancy.
Buoyancy control device.
Control device. Some people out there are, in landlocked states. They don't know what the heck we're talking about, but
There's diving in all 50 states.
I believe that. Yeah, I believe that. I think there's a video of a guy surfing in all 50 states also.
That I've never heard of. I do know there's diving in
Some
all
of
50
them are
states.
done on riptides in the middle of rivers.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool though.
My cousin used to surf the river in Boulder, Colorado sometimes when it
Yeah.
would like really come down and it was rushing down.
Yeah, we had a surfing on the river experience one time. Me and a buddy of mine. Oh, that felt like last week's drill with the combos. So, what about the bins? I was earlier. I was asking you to walk me through that, but then I wanted to hear it on camera because to me that stuff's pretty fascinating.
So the bends is decompression sickness. Basically, when you go down underwater, you get atmospheres of pressure on yourself. So every 33 feet of salt water, you add an atmosphere. So from the surface to 33 feet, you double the pressure on you.
Hold on, say that again. For every 33 feet down
In salt water.
you
add an atmosphere of pressure.
Wow.
So at 33 feet, you double the pressure on your body. At
99,
66
you
feet,
triple it?
you've tripled
Or you-
it.
yeah.
At 99, you've quadrupled it.
Okay.
So
Note the numbers.
Yeah. Yeah.
that pressure on your body when you're underwater starts building nitrogen in your system, and you have to slowly come up to get that nitrogen to off gas as you're coming up. Or like I was telling you earlier, it's the equivalent of me shaking this Pepsi bottle or this Coke bottle and giving it to you and saying, open it right now. You have to slowly go and let it decompress and the bubbles off gas. Otherwise, it's just
And then
an
so
explosion.
when that nitrous
the nitrogen.
builds up, that nitrogen builds up, it's coming out of your breath when you're breathing.
It's coming out of your bloodstream.
Wow.
So it's literally off gassing out of your entire body.
Wow. That's pretty fascinating that the expansion of something that would already be in there and all of that can rip through you in such a devastating way. What's the symptoms of that? You just pass out?
There is multiple different symptoms. It depends on the person. People can actually come out of the water, have decompression sickness, and not even show for 6 to 12 hours or more. It just depends on what you did, and there's multiple different forms of decompression sickness. So it can vary pretty drastically.
I know very little about it, but I was just thinking in my mind that
Nice shot.
my brother has. That's your shot. We're on 3 ball. My brother in San Diego has a boat bottom cleaning business where he dives and shout out to Barnacle Busters. And if anybody needs their bottom of their boat cleaned, then that's what he does. But he certainly has to do like little monitorings of
Sit,
like how many
stay.
dives he's doing.
They're working
And
on
then
the
also
bank
you
shots.
can't fly, right? Can't fly and dive in the same day. Is that true?
12 hours is the recommended if you've been doing multiple dives. Generally,
Yeah.
but it varies. If
And
you're-
again, that's because of expansion of.
Yep, because when you go up in the plane,
Nitrogen.
even though it's pressurized, it's still now less pressure on your body.
Okay. Weird. Weird.
I feel compelled to add that I served some time with a Navy mate. We were in a put in a temporary duty station, if you will. His reason was he was a Navy SEAL.
Let me try that again.
He got the bends, and it was just a matter of time. He was dying each and every day. He had reached a point of no return, and so his life for the next few weeks was just one of just knowing it was his last days. His body was deteriorating from the inside.
I wonder why they didn't put him in a recompression chamber.
Is that something you can treat that, like, get treatment for theirs?
Yeah.
I don't even, it's way over my head at this point, but.
If you have that when it happens to you, they'll put you into a hyperbaric chamber, and puts you back down at that depth and slowly brings you back up.
Weird.
So.
Oh, it's so crazy how sensitive our human bodies are, and how we, this kind of goes back to my being freaked out about the cephalopods, about how we think that we're so advanced and we think that we're so superior when the globe itself is 70% water. It's clearly a water-based planet, and we don't even reside on the majority of this globe. I think it's pretty naive for us to consider ourselves superior of an entire planet that we can't even inhabit the majority of. Which octopus can, and then that's not even getting into the depths issue, like we're talking about, our vulnerabilities to that pressure. That you go down far enough, there's not even light to be seen, right? It's so dark down there that you got cephalopods that create light for themselves, right? Autoluminescent creatures. They're flashing. Bioluminescence, right? Thank you. And so here's what gets me and freaks me out a little bit is imagine a pod of tiny little cephalopods flashing their communications back to each other, right? Is it safe to assume that that's a communication for them?
I don't know.
I don't know either, but I would assume so, right?
I don't know.
I also think it also would explain why they can shoot ink. Right, this evolution of this technology, if you have to wear your heart on your skin, if you're literally flashing your thoughts and your emotions and your colors on the outside, then you'd want that ability to be don't look at me and shoot ink and then run away whenever moments got freaked out or anything.
I like the ones that mimic other animals.
Okay, so that's good. That is weird, and that's kind of getting on the edge of what I'm getting to here is. Imagine a school of these flashing fish that if you imagine approaching it from 150 yards away, that would look like one little flashing glowing ball, right? And then once you got closer to it, you'd realize, it's actually a whole bunch of little ones. And if that flashing is communicating, then what is the message from that bigger ball, that biggest, and do they have a hive mind? Is that a hive mind communication attempt? Because that's
not
scary.
That I know
that's
of.
Really scary.
And now I
to
see
me.
why you're scared of random things.
Not random things, of cephalopods. Yeah. I think
very, very specific things.
Yeah, exactly. I think that their ability to, to showcase their by far superior, evolving techniques and abilities is alarming.
That's funny.
So we have some people on the chat talking about what the deepest scuba dive in recorded history is, and I looked it up, and it's 332 meters scuba dive.
And meters is a lot deeper than feet.
To 1,090 feet.
That's a lot of pressure on your body. It also takes a lot of planning and training, and they have to work their way up to those dives. I'm just starting into the technical diving stuff, and it's a different world.
Well, that brings up the question: what's the deepest you've ever dove?
Deepest I've gone is 160 feet, which is still past recreational standards.
I don't mean to be grammar police here, but I think it's dived.
It's divin.
Dove.
Dive.
It's dove?
Dove.
Is it really?
Thank you. Michelle, Tor, I'll take the mic back.
All right. Well.
And is dove and dove spelled the same way?
Dove is past tense.
What is dive?
But the deepest dive I have done
Yeah.
is about 160. So.
And what about ambitions to go any deeper than that?
Yeah, eventually. Mm-hmm. The thing is, how I was talking about the pressure, the atmospheres and stuff?
Nice shot.
If you're on open circuit diving, which is what I do, which is, that regulator in the tank, not rebreathers, every atmosphere you go down, you're breathing in that much more air. So at 33 feet, I'm breathing double. At 66 feet, I'm breathing in triple, on and on.
Right.
So that air doesn't
So
last you as long the deeper you go.
Right. It burns up quick the deeper down you go. Now that brings me back to the cave dive explorations in Belize. When I learned about that, I had learned that there were people that would spend their days literally diving down with full tanks of air and then planting them as far as they could get them and then going back. And then the next day they would come and they would swim to that tank because that's where their tank would run out of gas or run out of air. They'd switch tanks on the one they set the day prior, and then they would be able to explore new ground. And that's the labor that it takes to explore these caves that have they go so far down and deep in that you could literally spend your life.
Well, and in cave diving, they run by the rule of thirds, so you only use a third in a third
Okay.
out and a third for safety. And
That makes perfect
leaving
sense.
tanks, you'll do stage bottles. Mm-hmm. So that's actually what I was doing when I was in Florida. We were staging stuff,
So you can go another day.
so we can just continue deeper, and then we bring it out with us when we leave.
That's awesome.
That's so cool. I was also looking up, and I just found out that it took this guy only 12 minutes to get down to 1,000 feet,
Yep.
and guess how long it took to get back up?
Oh, that goes back to what he was talking
I want
about.
to hear Dom's guess.
1,000 feet.
Yeah, 12 minutes to go down. How long to come back up? Off the top of your head, let's
99 minutes.
15 hours.
Whoa.
Yep.
What? That's wild.
And that goes back to the bends and the decompression sickness and the nitrogen in your system.
That
So
blows my
when you
mind.
get that deep, you put tons of nitrogen in your system. You have to slowly come up, and you have to off gas in stages at different places.
It's so weird, all the places that humans will put ourselves.
It's almost like you want to plan for the good stuff on the return trip because that's what's going to take the time. That or like find yourself a waterproof Game Boy or something, man. That's a long trip back up to the surface.
You know, if
So-
you're dropping down and you're like, oh, I like the way that coral reef looks, man. Note to yourself, check that out, real good.
Yeah, 6
You know?
hours from now, let's come back.
Totally.
Depends on where you are.
I'd be totally amiss if I didn't throw this in there.
Here it
And that
comes.
is, would you consider diving in a lake that has never been dove in before, that's 3 times the size of all the Great Lakes put together, and hasn't been exposed to the surface in more than 65 million years? That's that new lake that's been discovered in Antarctica that the Russians have actually have sent divers down. The marine life speculation is off the charts. What could possibly be down there after 65 million
My
years?
curiosity would make me say yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Spoken like a true diver.
But I mean, my boss also thinks I'm crazy because I like diving with things besides sharks. Sharks are acceptable. The rest of the things I dive with aren't.
All right, on that note, we're out of sand. Yeah.
Who?
That's it for the open swim.
Sad. It's time for the rest of the stuff.
Yep.
Well, we're going to take a quick break here, and when we return, it's that time again, the time where we decide which Sharky Waters crew member is the best pool player of all time for now. Actually, it's just for this week only, and that is myself versus Cassandra. Eric, unfortunately, couldn't take the win, which I think puts the all-time total being Cassandra up by 1 victory over Eric. We've got some very unreputable math going into this, but we're going to get our best people on it to bring you the right answers. And when we come back, myself, Tor, the producer, versus our pro Shark Attack commentator, Cassandra. All that and more when we return on Sharky Waters, The Night Dive.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the crew match of the week. It is Cassandra, our pro commentator, against Tor, our producer and frontman. I don't know.
Am I on? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Absolutely, Dom. Welcome into the booth.
It's a tight squeeze in here.
Yeah. We have them playing a match of 9-ball here to see who is the best of all the crew match at pool this week.
One race to one to rule them all. Yeah, Warren's pony in action. If anybody wants to put any bets out there.
Warren, I
Sometimes
might
we
be
get people in the
interested. Who
comment
do you
threads.
want to take one?
Eric? Yeah, Eric, you got action?
I got a dollar on Tor. I need Cassandra. I need her numbers to go down a little bit.
That was the thought process I went through, and I said, okay,
Yeah.
keep mouth shut.
Ooh, no love off the kiss there. You can tell Cassandra must have been doing something else during the warm-ups because she clearly was off on that bank shot there.
Yeah, wasn't paying attention when you guys were talking all about it. I don't know if you can see this one
Feel it.
past the 8.
That's a pretty safe shot, though.
Yeah, that's going to be tough to do anything with that one there.
Yeah, she's going to safety back. We're in the middle of a safety battle here is what we're seeing. I hate to say it, but that's, it's a tough shot. But it's not what she wanted, but it's still a tough shot. The cue ball's on the rail.
Yeah, that's not one you want to miss either with 9 balls. Only 9 balls left on the table.
There's a lot of game left. Fred's got 5 on her. Eric, you want to take that action as Tor drops in that hard shot on her safety? I don't know, Fred. No takebacks now. I don't think that's on. This is the one I'm watching. Eric and I over here messing with the buttons that Tor's usually in control of. There's
a lot going on back here. It's fun.
few things you can count on with Sharky Waters, but one of them is when Tor's on the screen, the button pushing is happening back here.
Don't worry, folks. I finally got my fingers warmed up, and cameras are in action.
How's that angle look? Can Tor see the 2-ball?
I don't think so. It looks like that 9-ball is...
Why don't you give us a different angle there? There you go.
That's where I'm going, boss.
Warren's asking if this is different from golf. You mean in the commentating sense? The etiquette is actually the same, but the crew on the crew match, it's kind of evolved into its own little sharking.
Yeah, we like to shark each other. Also, most commentators are behind a soundproof booth, glass, and the players cannot hear what they're saying, and all the good stuff and funky stuff goes for a jump shot, jumps it a couple times extra, ends up off the table, and then throws it at Cassandra.
So bad about that.
I can't believe he just threw the cue ball at her, but
I think he was trying to take out a toe maybe, and mess up her form from the bottom up, from the ground up.
Yeah.
I'm going to give a shout out to Paul Marquez. That guy talks a lot about focusing on what your big toe is doing when you're shooting.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's something about unpacking the other elements that could be racing through your mind.
Just gonna have
and
to
that
get-
if you focus on something that seems obsolete, then those invasive thoughts may dissipate.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, exactly. Warren's saying like breathing and meditation. I think it's exactly like that. I mean, I feel like meditation is on the pool table for me. I find my.
If she misses that 7 and comes back,
That really
well
was a
done.
good
That was a
shot.
good
She
shot.
had to
Yeah.
hold that draw on there to keep it in front of the 7 ball. She would have hit the 7 ball. It could have gotten real weird. She didn't put some top spin on that one. Roll forward. Great shape. Nice shot, Cassandra. Yeah, Warren's ready to back that. Yeah,
Decently was on that
absolutely.
5. He's got, she's got a little bit of an angle here, but
Yeah.
if she plays it right, she can get back on that 6.
Fred, if you're still watching, man, we can't wait to have you back on the show.
Oh, she was thinking maybe
me
I'll
up.
throw that cue ball into the 9 and see what happens, and she almost got it in that corner. Tor here lines up on the 5 ball after readjusting his hat for better viewing capabilities.
Yeah, you can see his hat slightly crooked a little bit. That's a style that was pioneered by skateboarders in the early 90s to block the vision of the sun coming out off the reflection of the
Ooh.
waxy curbs.
I believe you're correct, sir. Just as that 5 ball barely touches the rail.
Yeah,
to
I was
knock the
actually,
pinball in.
my eyes were glued to the 6 ball, which didn't touch. I was thinking
Right?
it wasn't going to be a good hit, but right at the last second. Oh, that's some good spin on there. She almost got it. You can see that she was trying to go for there.
Yeah, and then she jumped up right away thinking, oh, maybe I'll get that 9 also again.
Yeah, she might have.
She's trying to go for it
You can
again.
see here, it looks like Tor's going to try and bank this ball, though. She might have woken up the cat trying to get the cheese.
Ooh, Tor makes some good contact on that 9 ball with the 5 banked off this long ways. And just puts it in the other corner pocket as a duck.
Yeah. That 9 ball wants to go. I played in a league last night, and a couple of my games, my breaks were leaving the 9 ball right around where it sits at the table now. And the whole games, me and my opponent were just going for it, and it really just threw off the mentality of the strategy of the game. It took us way out of rhythm, and we both just couldn't help ourselves.
Just got too aggressive and too single track mind on that 9 ball, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Michelle's over there pointing at herself like she's guilty of that as well. It's really hard to ignore the fact that you can win the game in one shot and save yourself the labor of the rest of the grind. I think Tor's got a chance to send that 9 too right now.
Ooh, he looks like he just missed, but cue ball kicked and came back and knocked the 5 down to the other end.
It's a lot of gray though.
Lot of gray. Stormy seas out there. Comes in nice and easy and makes
she
a
nailed
great shot on it. And a great leave here for the
Nailed it.
6.
She's gonna get right in front of the fin there for anybody who knows their pool table anatomy.
Great stop shot on the 6, leaving the cue ball glued to that rail, I think. But that is just fine because she's got a good line coming on that 7.
We're over here explaining to Warren, our resident newcomer to the game, why the pool table pockets are described as female.
Oh, she hits that
anatomy
9,
body
I
parts,
think,
but
accidentally.
there's
She was
real no
trying to
definitive
squeak the
answer.
7 by, or maybe carom it into the pocket, get the 9 moving anyways, but almost got it. Leaving Tor a shot that we have worked on in the past.
Yeah.
And it shows because he makes it no problem if that cue ball keeps coming a
great
little bit.
shot. Eric, you're missing some good content over here on the side in the audience here. They're talking about the metaphors between the sexuality of the game of pool and pool. Shafts, balls, holes, strokes. You know anything about that?
I'm sorry, my mom's calling. I can't talk. I gotta go. Anyways, back to this pool table and this match. Tor left her very safe, good safe shot and locked her up on the rail there, real close.
Ooh, that's
Just
a great
touches
shot.
it. Oh, beautiful. Comes back to the other end of the table.
Yep. This is why we practice bank shots here.
There's still a cut
Tor.
shot there too, though.
Tor with the hat adjustment there is kind of a trademark move of his long table shots.
Well, he also wears those glasses, which makes it tough because I think he has to look over the glasses to look
Yeah.
at this object. That
they're-
always throws you off too.
It's true. He has, if you talk with him on a personal level and friendship-wise, he's pretty open about how that can be an issue. Sometimes if he's real in it, he'll take his glasses off. But I think that's got to be a balance between how far away it is and how blurry the ball may get.
Yeah, for
Sandra
sure.
cleaning it up,
There we
making it
go.
look easy.
Runs the last 2 balls to take that match, becoming Sharky Waters, old-time crew match winner of this week. So until next week when we get back, we're going to take a quick short break here, and then we'll bring you back to the Shark Attack with Michelle. Race to 7 in 9 ball between Dom and Michelle.
All that and more when we return on Sharky Waters, The Night Dive.
All right, everybody, we're back. Thanks for your patience. We were having a riveting conversation backstage, and it got so intense we almost forgot to do what we came here to do, which is bring you guys a great game of pool. I'm your producer and co-host, Tor. I'm joined here in the commentary booth by Cassandra, our pro Shark Attack commentator. How are you, Cassandra?
Good. How are you, Tor?
Really good, thank you.
All right. So the Shark Attack rules is it is a 9-ball race to 7. They lag for the break. It looks like Dom won the lag there, so he's going to be up to break first. You must hit the lowest ball first in order for it to be a good hit, and then any ball after contact must hit a cushion. The 3-foul rule is in effect. The 3-foul rule means that if you get your opponent to foul 2 times in a row, you must tell them that they have had 2 consecutive fouls, and if they foul for a 3rd time, that is a loss of that rack.
Now, I'll say it loud for everybody in the back, and mainly for Michelle. You comfortable with the 3-foul rule? You rocking with the 3-foul rule? We're getting the nod of approval. We always want to make sure that everybody's up to speed, because that can make or break a rack. That can really be a momentum swing.
Oh, yeah. Michelle has played in a lot of big tournaments where the 3-foul rule takes effect.
Well, right on, Cassandra. I'm a little unfamiliar with Michelle's game, so what are you expecting to see in tonight's match?
Oh, I mean, I just played a round of BCA with Michelle last session. She's shooting good, so it should be a good matchup.
We're aware of like player rating, Fargo rating, anything like that?
She's a 480 in Fargo.
That's pretty strong.
She's pretty strong. She's a strong shot.
I know those numbers can like mean a lot or can mean nothing depending on circumstance or whatever, but I definitely don't bat my eyelids at anyone in the high 400s or above.
Well, I think a lot of Michelle's games came from a while back, so I don't think that reflects on how she's playing now, you know?
Yeah, interesting.
She took a couple years off, so you always come back stronger. Might take a little bit, but all the things you learn settled in.
Bit of an awkward get up and go here with a scratch from Dom. Michelle pockets the 1 in the corner and then misses the 2, so Dom's looking at the 2 now.
Oh, just hits it a little bit thick, brings the cue ball back to the middle of the table, giving Michelle a shot.
Little bridge action here from Michelle.
Looks like she opted not to use the bamboo bridge.
Probably the wise decision. Unfortunately, that shot doesn't go for her, but I noticed that we've got a split in that bridge, and I think it must have been dropped at a weird angle or possibly sat on or something. So
looks like we're going to have to get a new bamboo piece.
Yeah, we're definitely in the market for some new boo. Well, Dom shoots that 2 in the corner and rattles it out. Michelle's got a look at it, but it's a long ways down the table now.
Nice safety attempt there. Unfortunately, she ended up double kissing the 2. Trying to put those on opposite sides of the 9-ball.
Nice. And down goes the 2 in the corner.
Yep, and that was some nice use of some left English to get down table. Just got a shot on the 2. 4. Kicks the back side of it. Nice shot by Michelle. She leaves herself a whole clean 5-ball here.
Welcome back to the studio. David Lash sneaks in the side door. Happy to have you back, David.
Nice shot on that 5-ball down the rail. Gets a nice clean look at the 6-ball.
Tries to put the 6 in the corner and is just off target a little bit there. It bounces around 2 rails. Cue ball pretty close to the rail, but I think we got enough room to work here for Michelle.
Great shot on that 6 ball. Great reverse cut. Comes around 3 rails. Gets a look at the 7. Hits it just a little thick. Doesn't leave it easy for Dom though. Just gotta stretch across the table.
Really tight cut. Not an easy shot for either player on that 7, and though both missed, you do like to see him coming up calm and with confidence on the shot.
Great speed on that 7 to hold it on that side of the table for the 8. Overrolled a little bit. Oh, she tries to take the reverse bank on the 8 and put it in the side pocket, and the cue ball just slips into that corner pocket.
Tough. You gotta wonder if maybe just the age of the table, being a vintage table, and the circumstance of those corners being a factor.
Yeah, well, if she put any right spin, it would have sent the cue ball down towards that pocket.
Dom's able to clean it up. 2-ball run, 8 and the 9 goes down. And that puts him up 1-0. You know, we it's typical, I feel like, in the Shark Attacks, we see like a little bit of like start and stop. That get up and go doesn't quite happen in that first rack. And I feel like we're not feeling any of the disjointed warm-up period. I feel like both players are like just coming at this like they're ready to go.
Yep.
Have you seen these two play matches in the past?
I haven't seen them play each other, no. I've seen them play separately, yes. Yeah. Like I said, Michelle and I just played in a BCA league together. I remember playing several years ago when I was fairly fresh to pool. And I've been playing on and off with Dom for years.
Mostly through league stuff?
With Dom?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I was the one who got Dom into league.
Yeah, that's right. I did know that.
We used to play at Malarkey's and play the tournaments together. And, you know, our kids are friends, so we hit balls together. All the things. Oh, Dom pushes. Dom pushes on the 1 ball. Michelle does have the option to give this back. And she does.
Seems a bit of like a comical formality when it happens that way. Like the shot doesn't really change with the push.
Yeah.
Just
that
more
was a
of
real slight change. Dom came back and got an accidental hook, though. They're laughing about it.
Makes you wonder if it really is just the social construct of the tournament, and really what you're asking is like, hey, do you want to take this shot?
Yeah. There's definitely an art to pushing. Michelle got...
There's the art to the safety battle that we're seeing here, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Michelle got a good hit, and... Oh, Dom hit the 8 ball first, giving up ball in hand to Michelle.
I wouldn't have thought that would be the shot that gave up ball in hand in this safety volley here, but nonetheless.
Nice shot by Michelle. She's set up nicely for this 2-6 combo. Ooh, she tried to hit it soft and kind of stop shot so that she would have a good shot on the 2-ball, but cue ball just kept rolling. Great safety by Michelle. She leaves the 2 and the cue ball on opposite ends of the table and with the 7 right in between. Good hit by Dom. It's got the reverse safe again.
This is something else.
Yeah. Oh, Michelle puts a lot of spin on that cue ball trying to go down rail past the 4 and the 5 and accidentally skims that 4 ball. Giving up ball in hand to Dom. Dom tried to play a reverse safety back with ball in hand, and I think the 2 ball went out a little bit further than he was anticipating, but it's still not a bad leave.
Looks like she was going for a shallow safety there, getting both balls on the rail with the 9 ball separating them. And it went a little harder than that, but luckily a 5 ball here in the way ended up being that barrier.
Yeah, looks like Dom's breaking out his jump cue right now. He over jumps it and sends the cue ball off the table, giving Michelle ball in hand again.
Unfortunate. Well, she gets the lead she was looking for with that ball in hand, a well-crafted shot. Unfortunately, she doesn't execute the pot and give it back to Dom. Dom gets the 2 to go easy. It was just sitting right there in the corner and is able to get a pretty decent looking leave on the 4 here.
Great shot on that 4 ball there. Holding it there for a nice look at this 5 ball. I think he's got the run up here. Great use of top English there to use the 2 rails and get on this line for the 7 ball. Ooh, he misses the 8 ball in the corner pocket, and it comes around and ends up in the side.
Definition of the rule of 9 ball, which is luck counts.
Absolutely.
Drops the 9, gets 2 in a row.
That leaves the score 2-0, Dom.
Now, here's a odd thought. You're like a fellow sports person. How would you feel about like introducing, we need to make like a new 9 ball circuit where that has like a bowling frame type of situation, right? So when you get 2 strikes in a row in bowling, it counts the second strike in the previous frame. And there are like specific, I'm new to this system. I was just bowling with a close friend of mine. But how would we create some type of like bowling frame like type bracket
So they
for 9
actually
ball wins?
have a league that does that similarly called BTRT, and Debbie Wolfinger was who does BTRT and owns BTRT, and that's her league. It's similar. It has a similar setup to that. You know, if you break and run 2 or like that, it like counts for like the extra points and stuff like that. I can't explain it as well as she can. Obviously, I've only played in the league a handful of times, but yeah, BTRT is kind of like a pool bowling league, and there's like 10 frames, so you're playing the ghost 10 times, and so if you're interested in that, look up BTRT, Behind the Rock Tour with Debbie Wolfinger. Dom pushes again, barely moves the cue ball, doesn't leave a good line of sight on this one ball.
That has me even more excited. I believe we have her coming in to the show here in the near future.
Yeah, so we'll have more explanation about that. Michelle gives back the push, and Dom attempts to jump over the 3 ball and doesn't quite get over the ball enough, giving ball in hand back to Michelle.
Well, ball in hand for Michelle goes exactly as she planned it. 1 in the corner. And a good looking leave on the 3, which also goes in that same corner. Brings it all the way down to look at the 4 ball here, which is dangerously close to the 9.
Yes, it is.
Well, gets the 4 to go, and a little carom touches the 9 and moves it a little bit, but nothing too dangerous yet, except that she's kind of hooked herself looking at the 5.
Great touch from Michelle. Leaves it long. Lots of gray there.
Narrowly avoids a scratch in the side pocket. Doesn't get anything to drop, unfortunately. Handing it back over to Michelle on the 5 ball.
Great shot by Michelle on that 5 ball. She gets a good line on the 6. Great use of some bottom inside English to come around. 3 rails. Gets a good line for this this combo here. Oh, that 7 ball rolled out, unfortunately.
Too bad.
Yeah.
It was a nice run. Made those 3 shots look super easy.
Yeah.
And I mean, she's not dead in the water here. I mean, we just need contact, and we can work with that 9 ball to create a good safety opportunity.
We're going to move in like that, and oh.
That was a gutsy shot, and you just thought it was going to drop there at the end.
I'd have done it.
Wow. Drills the 7, big bounce around, and not a whole lot to think about here on this 9, really. Big stop shot, 9 in the corner, cue ball. safely on the table, and that puts Dom up 3-0.
Yeah, Michelle's actually playing really, really well.
Yeah.
I didn't expect the score to be like this early, but there's still lots of time for the swing,
Yeah.
to go both ways.
Absolutely. The score, I mean, that's just the wild thing about 9-ball is like the score is not indicative of who's playing better or who has more control. It's literally just who hits that one last ball. And
Yep.
There's so many ways for it to go
Absolutely.
down.
Who makes the last mistake?
Like
right?
exactly. The level of like maturity of play we're seeing with both people right now, like really prioritizing the safe shots, really prioritizing leave. This is high level play from both people. Though the score might make you think otherwise. Well, 5-ball falls on the break.
Don has a look on the 1 ball. I don't see him pushing on this one. Goes for the bank. It comes up short both ways. Great cut attempt on that 1 ball. Looks like she might have hooked on just a little bit.
Whether or not he can see the 1, it might be partially covered, but that's really awkward with the cue ball right up on the 3 like that.
Great contact. Comes back around, hits it again.
Great cut. 1 goes down in the corner. Cue ball comes around about 3/4 of the table back with a nice look on the 2. Little rattle on the fins, but the 2 falls down. Now she's looking at the 3.
Oh, great attempt on that combo. She did not leave it easy for Dom. It was a great little 2-way there. Great hit by Dom. The 7 and the 3 stay on the table. Gives Michelle a good opportunity here.
It's tricky, those things, like it seems like the 7 is a sitting duck in the corner and that any touch from any other ball is going to get it to fall. But then when it doesn't, now you're in a situation here where we've just really accidentally set Michelle up for success. The 3-ball falls easy. And like now we're looking at a super dangerous combo here.
It looks like that 8-ball might be in the way of the 9 going in that pocket. 3-ball combos are not easy.
Yeah.
2-ball combos are hard enough.
Yeah, I hear you. Not as straightforward as I initially thought.
Oh, she tried it and it almost caromed off of the 8-ball.
And she left him about as locked up as you can.
Yeah, that was it. That was a
Jeez.
great shot there.
Can't really be mad at the miss there. It's like no room for error on a safety like that.
Absolutely.
It's definitely not the scenario that anyone like practices and runs drills for, though. Maybe that could be one for a future
Well,
episode.
you had to put a lot of spin on that and just kind of hope that it was enough.
Yeah.
Safety or getting out of safeties like that is so tricky. Nice
4-ball
shot.
on the side.
Yep. Looks like Michelle set herself up for a bank or a carom on the 9 here.
Great shot.
Both. Oh my
Two
gosh.
for-
Great shot
look
by
at that.
Michelle. She puts herself on the board, 3-1. She's going to be up to break.
Love to see what you think is going to be hopefully one of two, and if not, maybe lock your opponent up so they don't have an easy look. Well, no, let's just make both of them and end the game right there.
Michelle's a great shot. You shouldn't ever discount her or underrate her or think that she's not going to make a come from behind.
I think you can see it in her composure, experienced in situations under pressure.
Yeah. Unfortunately, nothing goes down on the break, and she leaves Dom an open 1 ball.
So you've played competitively against tons of people, right, Cassandra?
Quite a few, yeah.
So I'm curious, like you would have a better read on people's body language than this, but there's like two types of humorous, reactions to a missed shot. I feel like there's a humorous reaction that has a bit of nervousness, like that's being humorous is your defense mechanism to like not letting your actual frustration or stuff show. And then there's like one that comes from calmness of like, I've been here before, whatever the next shot I'm going to get, I'm totally going to make. Errors are fine.
Yeah. The best reaction is no reaction.
In terms of giving something to your opponent or for your
absolutely.
own mental
You don't
state.
want to let them know that you're upset. It's like playing poker. You don't want to give your opponent anything. If you missed a kick or something, you don't want to necessarily let them know that that's your weakness. So you better make the next one. You don't want to let them know that you're bad at that. So lock them up, do whatever it takes, to make sure that your opponent doesn't know what your weakness is, so to speak.
Yeah, like not having a tell.
Yes.
And I think like really the super high level players probably can just know what your game is from just watching you play it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not an issue of tell, but I imagine at the intermediate level, that's like a big part of the psychology of the game,
they see
right?
players like that come and go every day. They can size you up just by how you approach the ball, let alone whether or not you make it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Michelle's doing a great job at this run here. She's had a good look at this 4 ball. Oh, she overcuts it just a little bit, trying to line up for that 5 ball.
Dom opts to just barely come in contact with it and just doesn't quite have enough gas to go all the way.
Yeah. Nice contact with the 4 ball. I think she misses the line that she wanted for the 5 just a little bit. Would have liked it a little bit more straighter on for the lead for the 6 ball up table. She almost makes it though.
It's like a live by the fin, die by the fin situation there. It saved the cue ball from scratching and unfortunately was the undoing of that 5 ball.
Yeah. Great kick by Dom. He almost sends it into the opposite corner pocket. Ooh, great attempt on that 6 ball. It's easy to rattle the balls out of the pockets on those weird reverse banks. Or reverse cuts, sorry.
It blows my mind on those type of shots how just like laser straight you have to get that angle.
Absolutely, and it's even harder if you're throwing the ball in the pocket or using English to get to a certain spot.
Yeah.
And practicing her banks came in handy today.
It was a nice looking one. Nothing but net.
Ooh, almost makes that reverse bank too.
Yeah, narrowly misses the side pocket.
Yeah, unfortunately, she's set up Dom real pretty here. Great shot by Dom. Going 3 rails and coming back out to the center of the table.
There's that laser straight cut we were talking about. 8 ball in the corner, looking at the 9.
And the 9 ball is down, and the cue ball is safe. That brings the score 4-1, Dom.
A little bit of praise there for Dom talking, just agreeing about our conversation of response after a missed shot or after a certain type of shot that Cassandra is emotionless when she's in tournament mode.
Yes, I am.
I get it. You got to be.
Yeah. I should say I strive to be. I'm not always.
Fair to say. I think it's so funny. It's funny for me to hear that because I come to pool like I do with most like competitive sports, and that is like to have some type of outlet for that I like don't get in my artistic world, where everyone's supposed to be friends and support each other and never want any ill will on anyone else.
Yeah, well, I mean, the competitiveness is the outlet for me, but that doesn't mean that I have to allow it to be the outlet for the other person, right? I don't have to allow the win.
Well, that's very sportsmanlike of you, Cassandra. I personally feel like I get more out of incessant shit talk on the basketball court and then beating my opponent and watching them leave the gym until next time. But again, you're probably getting that endorphin much more on the pool table than I am getting that in the recording studio or on stage. So that maybe is an understandable difference between us. But I will say that I've never not shaken hands with someone who's been upset over a basketball game.
Yeah, well, I mean, you gotta shake hands. It's rude not to, or with the new virus, they're in the pool tournaments.
It's more
they're
of a fist
saying,
bump now, right?
They're saying fist bumps or don't take it to heart. It's not unsportsmanlike at this event or that event. So just say good job or
Totally.
I enjoyed the match or.
Where are you? Are butt pats still open?
Oh no!
butt
I'm
pats?
a woman. Do not touch my butt. I will deck you.
Okay, getting a clear no. I guess I was not thinking of that from the gendered position, which is inherently the problem, I suppose. So my apologies for that. But butt pats are like a common thing amongst competitive sporting like teammates. But though I'm assuming definitely
that's
not
my
in the
opponent,
pool.
though. That's not my teammate, you know.
Yeah, context is important.
All right, nice shot on the 7 ball by Dom. Keeps the cue ball under control and in line for this 8. Laser shot on that 8 ball. Gets a perfect lead for this 9. And it falls, bringing the score 5-1 Dom.
Nice out by Dom. I can't help but feel a little bit of guilt as I raise my voice beyond the safety of the soundproof window that is the commentary booth and loudly discussing butt pat culture, which is highly inappropriate.
That's why I turned around. I'm like,
Well, I should know better than to bring up such crass topics in what is such a highbrow sport.
I could make it so much worse.
Big break by Dom here. The 1 ball goes. The 3 ball goes. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a good line on the 2 ball. The 4 ball snugged up to that 6 ball. Ooh, and he makes bad contact with the 2 ball, giving Michelle ball in hand.
May have been a little short of that 1.4 to 1.9 second stroke that we were talking about in open swim, that pro level stroke. Seemed like he just got up and running a little bit too fast on that shot.
Great shot by Michelle. Oh, she ends up hiding herself behind the 6 ball. Just a little firm on that shot. Makes good contact, leaves a tough shot on that 4 ball by leaving it tied up with those other balls. Dom plays a reverse save here, making Michelle kick again. Great shot, great speed, leaves it long and tough for Dom. Oh, the 4 ball just comes out of that pocket there. Just didn't want to fall. Oh, and a bank jump by Dom. That was a great shot. If you're going to stick one, that's the one to stick, I guess.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Oh, and the reverse bank just decides not to go in the pocket. Five ball almost decided not to go in the pocket. Nice shot on that 6 ball in the side pocket. Doesn't quite get the cue ball far enough up table. She takes the bank. Just narrowly misses it. Leaves Dom this 7 ball again.
All right, I've got an opinion question based on pool stats here. Ooh, as Dom narrowly misses the side pocket, handing it back to Michelle.
Okay, what's the opinion question?
So, like in baseball, they say if you bat a 300, that's great. That's pro level. And
Yeah.
they say in basketball, if you're shooting above 50%, that's what it's going to take to win. In pool, we're like really looking for 100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Scratch down the table by Michelle. She'll hand ball in hand back over to Dom. Okay, so Dom walks over to the commentary booth to just to give us like a little bit of context there. So because there's a defensive aspect in pool, like a forced error is not the same as an unforced error. So like if you can't make the shot because your opponent like locks you up super tight with a safety and there's just no way to get it, that's a different category that you got to count that percentage.
Yes.
But of like you having an open look at this 9 ball here, not to put any pressure on the shot. But the acceptable percentage is 100, and anything less of, and because it's a yes or no thing in pool, the difference is like it's all or nothing.
Yeah. You either win or you lose. Basically, you either make the ball, you don't get shape.
And in addition to like a separate category that we've got to separate here, so like playing a defensive move where you intentionally are not making the ball, that is a third category.
Yeah. Yeah. You're attempting not to make the ball, but a lot of times you're going to see a lot of pros play 2 ways where they're trying to make the ball, leave themselves something good, and if they miss it, they are leaving their opponent poorly as well.
Right.
So.
Okay, so that covers the like offensive play. You're trying to pocket the ball. It's all or not. It's nerf or nothing is what I'm hearing.
Except for 2 ways, right? You can try to make the ball and leave your opponent poorly if you miss it. That's considered a 2-way.
Okay, I'm with you. 5 goes down on the break. So in terms of like a defensive play or getting out of a defensive position that you are in as a shooter, like what's acceptable success rate there?
To get out of the defense?
Yeah,
Well, you're always trying to get out 100% of a defense every time, or leave them a reverse safe if there's not an easy pocket nearby, or.
Well, right, but there's still pro players that get locked up so bad that even they, the top people that are playing the game, that they make a mistake here or there, but they're still considered. That doesn't change the perception, I guess is what I'm asking, of them being a high-level player.
Yeah.
Like, what would you say at some point, at what point does that percentage go so low that you're, like, not considering someone at that level? I guess that's really what I'm asking.
Oh,
and that's the
man,
opinion
I don't know.
comes in. No wrong answers.
I mean, with all of the technology and them being able to jump, kick, masse, there's almost, unless it's a tournament where they're not able to jump, I feel like they should almost be able to make contact with almost every ball.
Yeah.
But that's not the point normally. They're not trying to make the ball all the time that they're making contact with. They're trying to leave them a reverse safe, leave them poorly afterwards. So, I would probably say somewhere around 80-85%.
Yeah. 80.
So,
that number is like what I
still
had
really high.
in my head as well. But so what I'm hearing, if we zoom out from all of the numbers and all of the circumstances we're like trying to put a number on, really is that this game is like too complex to have those same general rules of success like we see in football and soccer and all of that stuff, right? It's like 101 variables.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not like a kicker in the NFL missing 2 kicks in a row and not having a job afterwards.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, speaking of missed kicks, well, not kicks in terms of pool, but the 4 does not go down in the corner for Dom. He hands it back over to Michelle.
You know, but also another thing with pool is, you know, most pool players make a lot of their money for tournaments and stuff and travel through their sponsors. You know, so if they're not performing well, they're just going to lose sponsors, which is their income.
What do you think's like the over-under there? Because, I mean, that's a matter of perception from the sponsor. If they think that the person's valuable enough or playing enough or has enough visibility to, like, have that be worth something. Have you seen that go away? Players that were sponsored and then lost their deals?
Their sponsorships? Well, I mean, Bustamante and Efren were some of the most sponsored people out there, and they just don't compete quite as much anymore. So, I mean, they don't have, I feel like, the number of sponsors that there used to be, but at the same time, the number of sponsors nowadays has gone up. There's way more sponsors for pool cases and jump cues and clothing and
a lot of like independent startup companies that are trying to represent the culture. And
yeah, I mean, Shane Van Boening has a sponsorship from a snowmobile company.
Unexpected.
Yeah.
But that's a big part of, I mean, snow sports and stuff, right? It's like a big part of his passion outside of pool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what he gets from his sponsorship, but he just gets to wear their name on his shirt. That was a great shot by Michelle. Great bank.
Phenomenal.
But, I mean, he... Great shot, Michelle.
Wow.
Puts her back up to break. That brings the score 6-2. Dom. You know, so they're getting traction from him having their name on his shirt, right? Different felt companies, you know, a felt company sponsors Shane. Obviously, Q-Tech is his biggest sponsor,
right?
You know, but yeah, I mean, he has other smaller sponsors, and some of them don't even have to be related to pool.
Yeah,
you know, they just think of the hundreds and thousands of people who are going to see that snowmobile company's name on Shane.
Yeah,
and they're not even out snowmobiling. You know, like he's not.
Well, that we know of.
Well, I mean, he uses a snowmobile for ice fishing.
There it is. I knew. Yeah. I remember you had told me it was something. I couldn't remember. Ice fishing.
Yeah, he ice fishes. So he has a little hut that he attaches to the back of his snowmobile to take the hut out to the spot where he's going to drill a hole.
Well, so that, I mean, the connection there with the sponsor, I was thinking for a minute, this seems just so off the wall. It would be this random thing. I don't understand the connection with the pool community necessarily. Yeah. There's got to be some overlap of people that like both of those things, of course, but it makes more sense that he has, like, the sponsorship represents him, right? Yeah. So what I'm thinking is, what are some things that you think, as someone who I'm sure would be interested in acquiring a sponsorship as your career continues to grow, like, what are some things you would be interested, or inversely, what are some things you would not want to be sponsored by?
Well, obviously, fossil fuels. Like, I do not want to be sponsored by them.
Solar energy sponsors only. Green energy on Cassandra's jersey for sure.
Sorry, I had to.
That's awesome. All right,
left it open.
I can get behind that. We're probably rolling out tobacco companies at this point as well, right?
I mean, I'm a smoker, so I don't know about that. But that was a nifty little shot by Michelle. Went for the 2-ball, ended up hitting the 3, and it came back and banked into the opposite corner pocket. That was interesting, and she's got a great line on the 2 here.
Ooh.
Oh, Dom scratches on that shot. It's so unfortunate.
Michelle had a great run there, and it felt like it was cut short, but luckily she's going to get another look at it with ball in hand.
Yep.
You got to imagine there's few enough objects on the table that we're looking at a run out here.
Yeah, I definitely don't think that she's going to let this opportunity go to waste.
Nice and soft. 5 goes all the way down into the corner pocket.
Great shot on the 6. She makes good contact on the 7 and leaves it next to the pocket there. Good speed. Pockets the 7. She's looking at the 9 ball.
We would like you to participate and tell us about your experience.
Great 9 ball. That brings the score 6-3. Dom is still on the hill, but Michelle is making a run for it here.
Amazing. You just love the focus. Like we said, she's been playing strong from the get-go, and she's not let the missed shots affect her morale. And it's only a matter of time before you get the opportunity to capitalize on those moments, and that's exactly what she's done in this last game. Opts for the red magic rack this round. It's a new addition to the setup.
Big break here, dry break.
Big red flag there.
But, you know, Dom's going to work through this 5 and 3 ball that's tied up. Great bank there.
Yeah, looks like that little warm-up session with the banks paid off on that one.
Looks like Dom went for the breakout on the 3-5, but the 6 was just enough in the way to where he made contact. Dom opts to play safe, but I think he gave her a little bit of a window to see this 3 ball.
She definitely can see a piece of it. It's hard to say if it's the angle she wants, though.
Oh, she tries to mass in around the 9 ball. Puts a little bit too much on it, giving Dom ball in hand on the 3 ball.
Unfortunate. And while the rack's not over yet, you definitely got to be feeling the pressure here if you're Michelle to execute all these opportunities.
Oh, Dom misses with ball in hand. Luckily, he didn't scratch. He doesn't have to do push-ups.
That's not the rule. The new rule. That's only 7 pages.
We've got some discrepancy of our house rule here, but I can clarify that Dom does not owe any push-ups after that attempt.
Nice attempt on the bank. Again, just a little bit short. Leaves it open for Michelle. Nice shot.
Really narrow cut there. Not a whole lot of room for error, and she just nails it. Four goes in the corner, a little nudge off of the 7. She just narrowly avoids getting stuck on with the 6.
And the 9
What a
ball
combo.
falls. Nice shot, Michelle. That brings the score 6-4. Dom is still on the hill.
We're switching up the magic rack again to the blue diamond. Well, we thought with the dry break at the beginning that it was not a good omen with the red rack, but Michelle's able to take the win anyways. She's like really fighting her way back here. Love to see like still playing the game her way, maintaining her composure.
Yeah, Michelle is a really strong mental game.
He said that.
Dom is doing push-ups.
Is this over the last push-up discrepancy, or are we
Yes,
still holding them to it?
It is. They Teresa Erickson on the thread said that said that she had to do them. Said that he had to do them.
All right, well,
He did them. Dom gets a good hit on that one ball. Good hit on the one ball by Michelle. It doesn't quite fall into the pocket. Tom just gave that one ball a little bit too much force, I think. Nice lead from Michelle on this one ball. Looks like Dom just left a little window for Michelle to be able to see this one ball. Oh, great attempt. She does get the hook. Dom breaks out the jump cue. Great hit. Cue ball stays on the table.
Michelle gets the one to go in the corner. Two goes in the corner as well. Nice soft touch. She's looking at the three. It's a good run. 3 in a row. She's got angle on the 4.
She's got the window too, it looks like. Ooh, great attempt on that 9 ball. Sticks Michelle here. Just looking at a kick. Oh, she makes contact with a 9-ball first, giving up ball in hand.
Just locked up pretty tight there. Not a lot of room for error. Don't like the outcome, but can't really beat yourself up too bad about the circumstance.
Good shot by Dom. He overdraws it just a little bit, but he should be able to get a good leave on the 6-ball out of this. Oh, he undercuts it just a little bit. Michelle misses that 5-ball and leaves Dom set up here. Dom throws that 7-ball out of the pocket with the draw. Michelle didn't hit that ball quite hard enough. Just looking at a long 8-ball here. Great cut.
Wow. She's like all the way on the other end of the table and up against the rail, but I think this is makeable.
Oh, just cut it a little bit thick.
Too bad.
Oh, Dom misses that 9-ball too. Almost scratches in the side pocket.
Yeah, Michelle kind of comes back for the dead here for another chance. Queuing up that 9 in that same corner. She gets it the second time.
Great 9-ball.
The cue ball, little moment of drama there as it looked like it maybe was coming all the way back to the other corner, but just runs out of gas and 6-5.
Yep. Michelle is closing in.
Just like incredible stamina in Michelle's game right now to be backed up with your opponent on the hill for this many games and to just like let that pressure slide right off her back.
Yeah, she has
strong.
She has such a good mental game.
Pretty good looking break there. The 3 and the 4. Looking at the 1 in the corner pocket here.
Great shot on the one ball there from Michelle. She's got a huge break here.
Good looking two in the side.
Nice little bit of draw on that 5 ball there. Great cut on that 6 as well. Great speed. It's got a long shot on the 7, but I mean, she prefers cuts to banks. Oh, I'm not really sure how you overcut that ball, but it just happened.
It was really, really close.
It was super close. Nice bank by Dom. I really thought we were going to see a break and run from Michelle to tie it up there.
Yeah, I was feeling it. Oh, it's not over yet.
Yeah. Oh, no. It's not what you want to happen when your opponent is just one game under you.
Definitely not with these circumstances either. Ball in hand, like...
Michelle hits that one a little soft. Doesn't quite get the lead she wants on this 9 ball. Oh, that's devastating right there. Such a devastating shot.
There it is. The 9 ball goes down. Dom finishes the race to 7 first. Great game for both players. Well, that determines the winner of the Shark Attack, but we've still got one more attraction, and that is the Break Pot, sponsored by Clean Slate Pool Tables. For all your pool table buying and repairing and all other needs, call Clean Slate Pool Tables. 253-737-7807. Just dial up that number and ask for Dom. Eric's racking them up for the break pot. This is just one little distraction as we get some noise from backstage. We're all wondering if someone fell over. It was just a pool case. It's all good, everybody. Caroms, combos, lucky shots, they're all good. You just got to sink the 9 ball.
Good luck, Michelle.
We got action. 6 ball goes down.
Tom here. I just wanted to take note. It's pretty obvious Michelle was smelling blood there during the Shark Attack. I had to put an end to that. No pressure to the break putt, but I think she probably statistically had the biggest break and run there from a female player. She almost ran out on me, had me sweating there. Doing good now, though.
Well, a little kick on the 3 gets the 5 moving, but unfortunately it does not make it fall. And well played by Michelle, but we're keeping our money inside that now stained and sanded treasure chest that lives in another treasure chest. Well, what do you think, Dom?
Till next week, guests, chance. 2 weeks. Next week, Tor's going to be out of town. Where are you going to be, Tor? Tell the people.
I'm going to be on tour with my hip-hop group, the Grandmasters. We're going to be playing in Spokane on St. Patrick's Day, Tacoma the night after. That's the 18th, 19th in Portland, and the 20th in Hood River, Oregon. Little run of dates with some hip-hop artists from the Bay Area that we like a lot and are super grateful to be on the tour. And you can find out more about that at grandmasters808.com. But that's where I'll be next week.
There you go. Tor's going to be out there moving the masses and having them shake their asses. So he won't be here with Sharky Waters, but we'll be here the week after with David Lash. Following after that, we're going to have April Fool's Surprise, Jeff Jerome, Mike Ottoboni. Those are guys that are all coming up next month. Big shout out to Tipsy Tomato. We'll see you in a little bit down there at the pizza party. Harold Prime with Prime Custom Cues. Thanks again. Pulled in another W for you on the pool cue shaft. Clean Slate Pool Tables, that's me. If you guys need help with your moves, repairs, or refelts, refurbishes, or recushions, give me a call. Keep up with your practice. Perfect practice makes perfect performance. Till next time, enjoy peace.